Entrepreneurship sometimes happens by accident. A lucky break, an unusual discovery, it can lead to personal fortune. But what is required to repeat the success? Few people can transition from one win to another. It takes skill, tenacity, and genuine smarts. The key is to see someone else's problem and find a way to solve it. That's the story of my friend John Reese, the founder and brains behind a new secure communications platform. But he got his start as a dentist. Let me read the opening paragraph from his story. It says, a mobile dental clinic evolves from innovative dentistry and good intentions. Dental Access Mobile Clinics was born from an effort to offer care to disadvantaged children. Dr. John E. Reese III saw a need to provide quality on-site dental services to school children in low-income areas, many of whom were covered by Medicaid but still didn't have a regular dentist or receive basic dental care. So I want to welcome Dr. John Reese to the Economic War Room. Let's hear his story.
Hey, Kevin, thanks for having me.
Well, so good to have you here.
Yes.
All right, let's start with dentistry.
Okay.
How did you transition from that to what you're doing today? And let's begin with the Citadel. That's
Okay.
where you went for college, right?
Yeah. So I was going to go to Clemson my whole life until the Citadel said I could come there for free.
Free is good.
Yeah, free was good. Free was good. So it was good, and I went there, and it was actually a good thing for me. I needed the discipline from the Citadel, and also I thrived in the small environment. It was not a large school. I think it was like 2,000 students. But from there, I went directly into dental school. But before that, I was commissioned as an Air Force officer as soon as I graduated from the Citadel. So I went on what they call an educational delay. And then I went into medical school or dental school, and then I went into the Air Force.
So Air Force dentist, right?
Yes.
And what did you do in the Air Force?
So, well, I was on a delay, so I was what's called inactive reserve while I went to dental school. So I didn't get paid. I just had the rank and no privileges.
Well, rank is good, but
yeah. So.
And then were you involved in the Air Force at all? What?
Not at all. I did my undergraduate training at a military college, like I said, and then I did Air Force ROTC, of course, there. And then I went straight to dental school. But I wanted to be a dentist since I was 5 years old.
Really?
Yeah, there was a show, kind of like a Howdy Doody show or whatever. It was called Mr. Knows It in Columbia, South Carolina. And all the kids would go to that show for their birthday parties. And so I went to that show one time for a birthday party, and the host would always ask the kids, hey, what's your name? Where do you go to school? What do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm Susie, and I want to be a ballerina, and I go to whatever. I'm Georgie, and I want to be a garbage man, whatever. And he asked me at 5 years old,
I don't think Georgie wanted to be a garbage
man. Kids were always like, or Superman or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, what do you want to do? I want to be a dentist. He took it back, but I just always wanted to be a dentist, so I did.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so how'd you come up with the mobile clinic strategy that you used?
So I've always been kind of an out-of-the-box thinker, upstream swimmer. One of my mottos is observe the masses and do the opposite. And just because you've never done it that way doesn't make it wrong, and because you've always done it doesn't make it right. So in my dental practice, it was an all-cash, comprehensive, continuing cosmetic and restorative practice. And I didn't see hardly any children, and I was, again, no insurance whatsoever. I did very complex restorations and restorative care on adults. Through that process, I developed some very good systems for practice, because you have to be efficient if you're not using insurance. And it was actually very profitable, and we did a lot of good work for people. Along the way, though, I saw that the children who were receiving Medicaid were not getting any kind of care. And actually, in the year that I started my mobile practice, the year before that, the Surgeon General had given dentistry a failing grade overall because of the lack of care for certain populations in the country. So I was involved in the Dental Association as a leader, and one of the things we did with the South Carolina General Assembly was get them to remove a lot of the bureaucratic requirements to file Medicaid, but also increase the fee level where it was so you could afford to do it, because at the point it was you were losing money if you saw a Medicaid patient and you couldn't afford for your overhead. So we got that done, but one of the caveats was that you have to have a certain number of dentists enlisted in Medicaid programs. So I said I'll take a small number of patients in my Medicaid practice, in my traditional practice on Medicaid, and what I found that the kids needed a lot of care because they weren't getting it.
Right.
And it was a very appreciative population of people, because if you treated them with compassion, they responded, and they weren't used to that in a lot of areas where they went for services. They were treated like a number a lot of times, or just like an inconvenience. So we started treating some of the patients, and then in 2001, there was another operation that was going around to schools just cleaning teeth. And the parents, either by intention or just by their own thought process, they thought they'd been to the dentist. But they hadn't been to the dentist, and they were still missing school. Their cavities were still getting worse. So I told the dental association, look, if somebody wanted to solve this problem, they could not only do a good service for the kids, they could make a living doing it. So I did.
Yeah. So you eventually went to 200 schools?
Yeah. So we started out at one school in one school district. I had an old RV that I gutted, put dental equipment in it. That was a comedy of errors in and of itself. And we started on April 30th of 2001, my wife and I. And we went to one school and saw 30 children. And then in 2018, when I transitioned out of primary ownership of that practice, we were at that time in, I think, 175 schools. We saw 15,000 kids that year.
Wow.
Yeah. And then of course, since I took over, or since I relinquished the full ownership, then that allowed us to grow the practice even more.
That's amazing. So you found a need.
Yeah.
You had a skill, and you met the need through unusual means.
Right.
All right, so how do you transition from that to the idea of secure communications?
Yeah. Well, let me back up about the dentistry part, because we had to create the vans we're using, so I had to start a second company where we manufacture mobile medical and dental clinics, and we sell those internationally, and so I still own 100% of that company, so I still build those.
So today. Entrepreneur 3 times now.
Yes. So the secure communication process came kind of from a need we found related to the thing that's been in the news recently, Act Blue, and we learned that the Republicans had no answer for that. So I found a need, and I figured out a way to fix it. And part of that was secure communications.
Wow. So this is a political thing. It's an entrepreneurship thing. It's an interest in meeting needs. All right, we're going to need to take a break.
Right.
When we come back, I want to talk with you about not just entrepreneurship in general, but the specific communication need, because people are worried. They're worried that their cell phone's being hacked or monitored or whatever. I mean, people are tired of this notion that they say cat food 15 times and they get fed cat food advertisements.
That's true.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come right back, we'll be with Dr. John Reese talking about the threat to your communications and how do we solve it. In uncertain times, finding stability in the economy can feel challenging. But what if you could navigate economic volatility while honoring your biblical values? At Timothy Plan, they believe this balance is possible. Timothy Plan filters its volatility-weighted ETFs and family of mutual funds through a biblical pro-life and pro-family lens, so you can see competitive returns and moral responsibility, helping you to weather the economic storms. With Timothy Plan, align your investments with your values while adapting to our ever-changing culture. Since 1994, Timothy Plan has been recognized leader in biblically responsible investing. Timothy Plan, your bridge between faith, finances, and the future. Visit timothyplan.com or call 1-800-TIM-PLAN or 1-800-846-7526. Investing includes risk, including possible loss of principal. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at timothyplan.com.
Somewhere a perversion has taken place. Our natural unalienable rights are now considered to be a dispensation of government, and freedom has never been so fragile, so close to slipping from our grasp as it is at this moment.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It has to be fought for and defended by each generation.
You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
In this most critical time in our nation's history, now more than ever, Americans need to align with companies that support our constitutional rights and God-given freedoms. Patriot Mobile supports your values and provides exceptional 100% U.S.-based customer service. Join the movement today. Go to patriotmobile.com or call 972-PATRIOT.
We're talking with Dr. John Reese. He's the creator of Titanium Secure. I've got a question, John. Are our communications secure when I use this cell phone and call you?
They are absolutely not secure unless you use an encrypted application.
All right, so let's talk about that. What are the threats? Why are they not secure?
Well, I don't know if you know, but back in December of 2024, there was a massive hack on almost all major cell phone carrier by the Chinese. And they got tons and tons of data on all the cell phone communications, and maybe even were able to, we don't know if they got that, but we know they had access to, even to the conversations. You know, right now when they listen on somebody, they can find out who they've talked to, but a lot of times they can't find out what they said. In this case, they might have actually been able to find out what was said in those conversations on all kinds of people across the U.S. through all the major platforms.
So here's the USA Today. FBI issues a warning, stop sending texts between iPhones and Androids. That's December 5th of last year. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep, and they also got into the voice stream as well.
So we knew, I mean, it's been known for a while that the U.S. government could step in and listen in on voice conversations when they want to. It's not just something they put on the spy shows on TV.
Right.
It's something that the U.S. government's had, so China found a way to hack into it as well.
Yeah, China's probably better at it than we are, you know, because they dedicate their lives to it, I think, to
Yeah,
find
you know,
out what's going on in America.
I was once with the head of the Texas cybersecurity team,
Right.
and he told me that there was a better copy of the Texas driver's license database in Beijing than there was in Austin. So
Probably
that's
true.
a little bit scary.
Yeah.
All right, so China is a serious threat, and we're in an economic war with China, so they could be hacking not just your personal information, they could, you know, and we hand them a lot of that too when we go use TikTok and things like that.
Right.
But it's beyond China. What about our own government?
Well, your own government gets information. I mean, you've heard the FISA warrants and all that sort of thing, where they listen in on a conversation, or at least connect people that they may or may not be allowed to do, but they're doing it. General Flynn would be a good example of that, and then as a victim of that, I should say, and not just the government though, but also rogue entities, whether it be a competitor in business or even companies that are getting everything you say and everything you do and using it to market to you.
Yeah.
And to sell to others to market to.
And you've kind of opted in on that. But let's back up on the government here. Here's an ACLU warning. So, you know, we talked about politics, and I know you tend to be on the conservative side of the political spectrum, as I am. But here's the American Civil Liberties Union statement. This is April of last year. ACLU statement on Congress passing bill that massively expands the government's power to spy on Americans without a warrant. This bill would reauthorize Section 702 surveillance without any of the necessary reforms to American civil liberties. And they point to an article in the Wall Street Journal from April 29th of 2022. FBI conducted potentially millions of searches of Americans' data last year, report says. Searches in national security investigations came without warrants and could stoke privacy concerns in Congress. That's a serious problem, too.
Totally serious, yes.
So we've got the Chinese potentially spying on us.
Right.
We've got our own government potentially spying on us. We've got the companies that we use spying on us. So, you know, you search something, you use TikTok or whatever. We've got big tech data mining, corporate espionage. Maybe they're trying to figure out what you're doing and maybe not doing it legally, but it's not hard to hack into somebody.
Right.
And then we just have general bad habits.
Well, just about bad people too. You know that last year over almost $5 billion was stolen from senior citizens through their data and through their phone habits.
Well, they can learn so much about us. Then, you know, once they learn everything about you, they can sign in on your services and do all sorts of bad things.
Certainly.
All right, so this isn't a conspiracy theory.
No, not a bit. It's actually happening.
It is actually happening. And what is the threat of quantum computing? I've got a quote here from University of Maryland. It says, with the introduction and growth of quantum computing, this reality is facing devastating changes. As opposed to 1,000 years, quantum computing has the potential to break RSA and ECC encryption within hours or even minutes, depending on the size and power of the quantum computer. Explain that.
So the typical encryption code that's been kind of the gold standard is called 256 AES, or sometimes they put the letters first. It's the same thing. And what that encryption code is is hard to hack by normal means. Normal computing can't do it. With a quantum computer, the computer not only recognizes ones and zeros, it recognizes even the polarity and the spin of the atoms inside the organization. And again, that's way above my technical head. But the point is, quantum computing is so much faster than a normal computer that they can run through the combinations of algorithms at a faster rate and break it quicker. Our encryption is resistant to that type of attack.
Okay, well, let me explain quantum computing a little bit. This is again from University of Maryland. Quantum computers are like magical librarians who can juggle multiple books at once. Instead of bits, they use qubits, which can be both 0 and 1 at the same time, thanks to superposition, the ability for qubits to exist in multiple places at once. Superposition allows quantum computers to process lots of possibilities simultaneously. Here's the scary part. China is really getting good at quantum computing.
Totally, yeah, they are. And even some of our own companies are working on it as well.
Basically, everything we've got, even with encryption, traditional standard encryption, can be hacked, especially by quantum computing. Right. A lot of people will say, I don't care. I don't have anything to hide. I don't care if people listen in. What would you say to them?
Well, I say that they should care. And the reason they should care is because people are at risk just for their normal everyday lives because they're giving out all types of information on their habits, where they live, what their kids are doing, all types of things that could, by a bad actor, be used to hurt you. But let's just say you're sharing photographs of your child. That photograph can be taken and placed in a situation that would be compromising, and it can be used to damage your child. And kids do this all the time, by sharing photos back and forth to people they don't know or people they do know, and they get in the wrong hands and they get bullied or things happen at school. But it could be even worse than that. They could place your photo or your image in a nefarious situation that would compromise them in terms of getting them arrested in sometimes, But also people are taking money from you.
Yeah. This is a serious risk, and what we're seeing is repeatedly people are sharing excessive amounts of data, which means that they can be used against you. And not only that, it can be used to manipulate you. That's the whole TikTok story, is the more that people know about you, the better they are to predict your behavior. And once they can predict your behavior, they can control your behavior. This is what we found from Dr. Robert Epstein, who has talked to us about how Google is manipulating search engine results, controlling it, forcing you to vote for people against what you would normally do. We've got a problem. Do we have a solution? Stay tuned after the break, and we'll be back with entrepreneur Dr. John Reese and a potential solution for this quantum threat.
Oh, hi, I'm Kevin Sword, and I'm here to tell you about coffee. Well, not really, but I'm going to use coffee to illustrate my point. Here we have several different coffees, each with its own unique characteristics. First, we have instant coffee. This coffee pretends to be coffee, but it's not really coffee at all. It's a fraud. Plus, it tastes terrible. I'm out. Next, we have woke coffee. Their coffee actually tastes pretty good, until you find out that when you drink it, you have to admit that you've oppressed other coffees in the past. Insanity. I'm out. Next, we have Big Tech Coffee. Now, these guys used to encourage folks to share with others what they thought about their coffee. But now, if you say you don't like Big Tech Coffee, they'll take away your coffee pot. I'm out. This brings us to Patriot Mobile Coffee, right? This is one big cup of truth and freedom. There's no fraud here. Patriot Mobile is America's real Christian conservative wireless provider. Patriot Mobile gives back millions of dollars every year to organizations that are on the front lines fighting for our freedoms. Patriot Mobile offers the best nationwide 4G and 5G coverage on the same networks as the other major carriers. So you'll get the same great coverage, along with 100% US-based customer support, while knowing you are supporting a company that shares your conservative values. Switch to Patriot Mobile today by visiting patriotmobile.com or call 972-PATRIOT.
We have a serious threat to our communications. They can be hacked by China, by our own government. Actually, you're sharing so much data that people don't even really have to hack you. They can just get you to give up your data through your privacy settings on your phone. But we have a solution. We have an entrepreneur, Dr. John Reese. He's created and solved problems for kids that aren't getting proper dental work, and he built a whole company that served that need. And then he jumped into secure communications. John, what is Titanium Secure?
So Titanium Secure Communications is a totally independent and unique platform, wholly based in the United States, built by people we know and trust that share our values, that allows you to communicate on any platform, whether it be your tablet, your desktop, or your phone. And you can use any operating system, whether it be Mac, Windows, Linux, iOS, or Android. You can do a video conference with up to 50 people. You can also share screens. You can do a voice call. You can do an individual video conference, one-to-one. You can send chats. You can share documents. You can send photos, all in a totally secure subscriber end-to-end encrypted envelope. We store nothing at all on our servers. We don't store any data on you or on your communications. We don't share any data, and more importantly, we don't sell any data. That's key. So even if our servers were hacked, which we know where they are in the U.S. versus some nebulous cloud with access by who knows who in countries who knows where, there's nothing there to find. It's on your own devices or on your own servers in your own facilities.
So even if you wanted to sell the data, you set it up to where you couldn't even access it to sell it.
Exactly.
All right, and this isn't Zoom, or better yet, my favorite would be Meetin there for large groups, so you can have large group that doesn't need that level of security. This is designed for personal security, for corporate security. This is a smaller platform, but broader in terms of you can do so many different things with it. Name the things again. Text.
Well, so you can text like you can on any of the other platforms. And those texts, believe it or not, and even any written document can be set to disappear in as little as 1 second. So if you've got something you want to send that's very sensitive and you want it to disappear, as soon as your reader sees it, it goes away. Or you can set it to be disabled. You can do a voice call. And again, in a totally secure encrypted envelope.
A single one-on-one voice call.
Yeah, or a group phone call. You can do a individual video conference with one person, or you can do it with a large group. And you can do a desktop conference like on Zoom or Teams or any of the other ones with up to 50 people. And in that desktop call, you can also chat with the people in that group, or you can chat with anybody else in your Titanium universe outside of that during that call.
Okay, to be truly secure though, all parties have to be on the same service.
Yes, ours is a subscription-only platform, so only Titanium users can communicate because we've created a completely secure closed-loop environment. Unlike some of the other platforms, and you read their terms of service, you can see what they do, we don't allow any plugins or add-ons to other platforms because when you open the door out, that also opens it in. And I think somebody told me about a snake that got in their house recently, and that was because the door was left open just long enough for that snake to come in.
Yes.
Same thing happens there.
Okay, so here's a quote. The primary user can also create temporary subscriptions using the same procedure. How complicated is it? All right, so I've got a friend who's not a subscriber. I happen to have temporary subscription capability, and I want to communicate with my friend John.
Yeah.
All right. How does that work?
Okay, so that only works in the group account. So you can have an individual account, or you can have a small group all the way up to a large group. The number of users inside of a group, as it goes up, the price per user per month goes down. Okay, so so what you can buy is, let's just say you've got a small group plan, then you've got 20 people. Well, you got 10 people you want to communicate with on a regular basis, and now you've got 10 what I'd call spare subscriptions. Those spare subscriptions can be sent to your friend George, and you can say, George, here's an invite to join Titanium, and your subscription is going to last for 24 hours or 3 weeks or whatever you decide. And so he downloads the app. You have to download the app to use it on your desktop or on your phone or both. And then you can start communicating. And as soon as that subscription expires, now his subscription goes back into your pile and you don't have to buy a new one. So you don't have to keep buying more and more subscriptions every time you want to invite somebody to use it.
Oh, that's a very innovative idea. Yeah. All right, you've got a little 30-second ad. Let's run that and see
all right.
Have you ever wondered if someone was monitoring you, like nefarious tech companies, corrupt federal agencies, or hostile foreign countries? Newsflash, they are. The deep state, big tech, and China are tracking your every move and using it against you. Up until now, you've been powerless to stop it. However, Titanium Secure has cracked the code with post-quantum encryption, and we control the entire ecosystem, end to end. Join Titanium Secure today and help us vanquish the enemies of free speech. Visit titaniumsecure.io and enter the promo code for a 25% discount on your subscription.
All right, so John, we asked you, set up an EWR promo code so all of our viewers can get 25% off.
Absolutely.
Is that working?
Yes.
The code is?
Yes, code is working.
EWR.
EWR.
EW for Economic War Room.
Right, and they can make it in all caps or lowercase or whatever combination they choose.
So you're a dentist, you're busy, and all of a sudden your friend says, I want to communicate with you, and they've got a group subscription. How complicated is it for somebody to jump on?
Oh, it's easy. They just go to the website and download. Once they go through the subscription process, and you'll see buttons on there to subscribe. They sign up as an individual, or you invite them to join through your group. The downloads are on the website for your Mac, your Windows, and your Android phone. You have to go through the App Store to get an iPhone download, but this is called Titanium Secure Messaging on the App Store. And that's the only involvement we have with big tech is through the Apple Store. Unfortunately, we can't break that chain. But again, everything else is through our own servers and our own system without using big tech.
Well, it's pretty amazing. And what's it cost? I mean, is it $100 a month?
No. An individual user without the discount is only $6 per user. And with a discount, they're going to get a 25% discount, so it's $450 for your friends.
Which is less than the cost of my cup of coffee, and certainly less than the cost of a hamburger these days.
Exactly. And if they've got a large group subscription with, I think, 300 or more subscribers in a company, the cost per user is the retail is down to $2 per user per month. So it's very, very affordable.
All right, so I'm going to ask a quick question. I need a quick answer. What motivates you? What's the role of your faith?
What motivates you? The role of my faith is that I want to give God the glory in whatever we do, and I want to be Christ to the world.
Okay, so the purpose of secure communications is to allow you to be better in your faith, so you can share the gospel. I mean, there was a time when sharing your faith was illegal, and we need to have the ability to have secure communications. John Reese is a great entrepreneur. He's a dear friend, and he's got a solution here, and it's Titanium Secure. We're going to summarize all this in our free economic battle plan. You can get a copy at economicwarroom.com. What we see as a marketplace, our enemies view as a battle space. This is Kevin Freeman for the Economic War Room.